Hello, I'm here with
Donette Hemming
my mom. Okay, where were you born?
in Cloquet, Minnesota.
When?
January 1st, New Year's Day, 1969.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have two of each. I'm the second to the youngest. My brother, who's year and a half younger than me. Then I have a sister who's 3 years older than me. And then the next one, our sister, is 7 years older than me. And my oldest brother is 9 years older than me. So 5 of us all together.
Are you guys pretty close?
I would say yes for the most part. We kind of, my one brother lives near here, my younger brother, and that's who I've kind of always been closest with. But then my two sisters, one lives in the cities and one in the falls. So I would say we're close when we get together, but we don't get to probably see each other as much as we'd like and whatever with jobs and kids and situations. But I would still say we're pretty close.
Where did you go to elementary school?
Well, I went to two different schools. I started out at Leach Elementary and I went there through third grade, but then they ended up closing actually two of the elementaries in Cloquet, and that was one of them. So then I switched to Churchill and I went there for fourth and fifth grades, all in Cloquet.
What was your favorite class or subject?
In elementary or just in general?
Elementary.
I would say elementary, I liked recess, which obviously isn't a class, but I would say probably when I was younger, I think I probably liked math the most, but I don't know. I would say that was probably the most interesting was math.
What sports did you play in elementary school?
I played softball and, well, it might have even been a little bit of baseball sometimes they might have mixed a little bit, I think, boys and girls, and then basketball.
Where did you go to junior high and high school?
I went to Cloquet Middle School from grades 6, 7, 8, and then Cloquet Senior High School from grades 9 through 12.
What activities did you participate in there?
So in high school, I was in the sports I already mentioned, well, volleyball too. So volleyball, basketball, and softball. And then I also was in the plays there. So mostly I was in just the chorus or whatever. I was never really any lead parts or anything, but I enjoyed doing those. And then I was also a part of National Honor Society my 11th and 12th grade years. And we had like a foreign exchange club or whatever. So we would kind of hang out with those kids as well when we'd seem to always have like maybe 2 or even 3 come from different countries and stuff. So that was kind of fun to hang out with them and show them the culture and the things to do around the area and stuff. So I was a part of that. And I was also on the executive board for, I think I was like secretary, treasurer, or whatever, my 11th and 12th grade years of high school.
Did you letter in any sports?
I lettered in volleyball, basketball, and softball, and I also lettered in drama.
When did you get your first job?
Well, so I remember I don't know if that's considered a job, but when we were younger, me and my brother shared a paper route. I think that was like middle school age. And so, although I did it more than him, so we could put that out there. But anyways, job-wise, I liked working at church camps. I did that for a few years in high school and even like my first 2 years of college. So that was fun being a camp counselor and stuff. But as far as an actual job, I worked at Dairy Queen like right out of high school, like my summer after my senior year.
How much did you get paid?
I would think maybe at this point it was probably maybe $8 an hour. I don't think it was probably much more than that.
What was your favorite thing to do on the weekends?
Well, I would like to hang out with my friends. We would either go to maybe movies or the mall in Duluth, which had a lot more stores back then, I feel like, or it was funner. And we like to do stuff outside, like we would go to Jay Cook or maybe Canal Park or something. And a lot of times would end up being stuff with sports because most of my friends were in sports too. So just anything outside to be busy or maybe hang out at someone's house and watch TV or movies or something there. Just spending time together, I guess, was fun.
Are you still friends with any of your friends in high school?
Um, I don't really see them as much as I'd like. There's a few that are still in the area, but with different schedules and family stuff and whatever, I don't feel like I see them as much as I would like to, but I would still consider them friends. And I know that if we saw each other, we'd probably just pick up where we left off and stuff. So I was friends, I guess. I would consider them that to be anyway.
When did you move out of your parents' house?
Well, I was there off and on. I'd go there obviously on college breaks and stuff like that. But I would say I officially moved out like a few months after I graduated college. And then moved to Louisville, Kentucky with my boyfriend at the time, which is now your father, of course. But anyways, so that was fun. We lived in Louisville for about 4 years. So that was really nice down there.
What did you like to do in Louisville?
Well, we were both involved in a lot of sports there. Like I played on volleyball and softball leagues and stuff, and those were actually, I would say, my first real jobs down there. I worked at like a corporate office for a hamburger chain down there, Rallies, which they don't really have up here. And I also worked for Humana, which is a healthcare company, both office jobs, which met some nice people and friends there. But I just liked it down there. There was a lot of nice people and everything, and the weather was a lot nicer and stuff. So fun change and experience something new.
Did you plan on going to college or not?
Yeah, I knew I wanted to go to college right away. So
Where did you go and what did you major in?
well, first I went to Vermilion Community College for 2 years, and I started out in the secretarial program, but I realized I didn't really like that. But I think I had to finish my whole first year, and then I ended up just changing my mind, and I switched to just finish out my generals there. And then I switched to UWS in Superior to go for my last 2 years, and I got my bachelor's in psychology and my minors in coaching.
How much did college cost?
I think community college was probably maybe $2,000 at most per year, which I know is a lot more than that now. And I think like UWS might have been like 35 to 4,000 a year, which, like I said, the tuition has increased dramatically since then. So, but I'm pretty sure it was somewhere in that range.
What was your favorite memory at college?
Well, I had a lot of good memories, but I did play sports there too. So I would guess my last year at UWS, we had a pretty successful softball team. So we kind of went far in the playoffs and stuff like that. And it was fun to play. I actually ended up playing with a couple girls at UWS that I played against in high school. So it was kind of fun to finally play with those girls who were competitive too. And we had some fun times doing that.
Did you plan on having children?
Yes, I knew that I wanted to have kids.
How many?
Well, if I would have thought about having them, I would have said maybe like 3 or 4. But since I ended up having them later than I wanted, we ended up with 2, which was fine.
What kind of baby was I?
I would say when you were first born, you were kind of colicky or maybe a little bit fussy. But then once we got that figured out and everything, you ended up to be a pretty good baby.
What job did you have when I was a baby?
Well, we didn't want to do daycare. I was kind of old-fashioned back then, so, or still am maybe, I guess. But anyways, so I worked at the casino in Hinckley, and I started out as a cashier, but then switched to a dealer, and so still doing that pretty much 20 years later, you're not 20 yet, but anyways, I still work as a dealer, at Black Bear, so.
Was your work schedule busy? Or is it still?
Well, when I've been dealing, it hasn't really been. I was part-time. Well, at Hinckley, I worked like probably 3 or 4 days, but here I'm only mostly weekends, so that's not too bad.
Do you enjoy your job?
I did when I first started out. It was fine, which I was a lot younger and stuff and whatever. But now it's getting a little repetitious, I guess, and it's a little bit different up here, Black Bear versus Hinckley. But it's okay. I mean, pays the bills, I guess. It's not too much fun anymore, but was once upon a time.
Okay, well, that's all I got. Thank you.
You're welcome.